Every workplace has its routines, the familiar hum of machinery, the predictable rhythm of tasks, and the comfort of knowing exactly what the day will bring. For many workers around the world, these routines create a sense of security. But sometimes, beneath that comfortable familiarity, invisible dangers lurk. This is a story about how a seemingly ordinary workday can change everything, and why workplace safety should never be taken for granted. The morning that started like any other, Michael had been working at the manufacturing facility for 8 years. He knew every corner of the building, every sound the machines made, and every shortcut that could save a few minutes during a busy shift. At 42 years old, he was considered one of the experienced veterans on the floor. New employees often shadowed him to learn the ropes. That Tuesday morning began just like hundreds before it. Micah clocked in at 7, grabbed his coffee from the break room, and headed to his station. The facility produced industrial components, and his role involved operating a large press machine. The work required focus, but after 8 years, much of it had become second nature. His supervisor conducted the usual morning safety briefing. They discussed the day's production targets, reminded everyone about proper equipment usage, and went through the standard checklist. Michael had heard these reminders countless times. Sometimes, he admitted to himself, he would tune them out. After all, nothing had ever gone wrong on his watch. The pressure of productivity as the morning progressed. The team faced mounting pressure. A major client needed their order expedited, and management had made it clear that meeting this deadline was crucial. The atmosphere on the floor shifted from relaxed to tense. Everyone moved a little faster, took slightly shorter breaks, and focused intensely on their output numbers. Michael noticed that one of the safety guards on his press machine was loose. It had been that way for a few days, and he had mentioned it to maintenance, but they were backlogged with requests. The guard still functioned, just not as smoothly as it should. Under normal circumstances, he might have insisted on getting it fixed immediately. But today, with the deadline looming, he made a decision that many workers make every day. He decided to continue working anyway. This is where workplace safety becomes complicated. It's not always about obvious hazards or reckless behavior. More often, it's about small compromises made under pressure, minor issues that seem insignificant, and the gradual erosion of safety practices in the name of efficiency. The moment everything changed around mid-afternoon, Michael was working steadily when something unexpected happened. A component jammed in the press machine. This wasn't uncommon, and he had cleared similar jams dozens of times before. The standard procedure was to shut down the machine completely, wait for it to power off, and then carefully remove the obstruction. But the deadline was pressing. The production numbers were falling behind. Michael had cleared these jams so many times that he felt confident he could do it quickly. He reduced the machine's power rather than shutting it down completely, thinking he could save a few precious minutes. What happened next occurred in a fraction of a second. The machine, still partially powered, activated unexpectedly. Due to the loose safety guard, there was nothing to prevent the incident that followed. In an instant, Michael's normal shift transformed into a workplace emergency. The facility's alarm system activated immediately. Co-workers rushed to help. Emergency protocols that had been practiced in drills but never actually used suddenly became desperately necessary. The facility went silent except for urgent voices and the sound of the emergency response team arriving. The aftermath and lessons Michael survived, but his life changed that afternoon. He faced a long recovery, multiple surgeries, and the permanent loss of function in his hand. The physical pain was significant, but the emotional impact ran even deeper. He replayed that moment in his mind countless times, thinking about the decision that cost him so dearly. The investigation that followed revealed several contributing factors. The loose safety guard should have been repaired immediately. The pressure to meet production deadlines had created an environment where workers felt compelled to take shortcuts. The facility's culture had allowed minor safety issues to accumulate rather than addressing them promptly. And perhaps most importantly, experienced workers like Michael had become overconfident, believing that their familiarity with the equipment made them immune to accidents. The company faced serious consequences. Regulatory agencies conducted thorough inspections. The facility was cited for multiple violations. Beyond the legal and financial costs, the incident devastated workplace morale. Michael's colleagues, who had worked alongside him for years, struggled with guilt and fear. The silence that fell over the facility that afternoon had been replaced by a different kind of silence. The heavy awareness that anyone could have been in. Michael's position. Understanding the broader picture. Michael's story, unfortunately, is not unique. According to workplace safety organizations, thousands of similar incidents occur every year across various industries. The common threads are remarkably consistent: time, pressure, minor equipment issues left unaddressed, experienced workers who become complacent, and workplace cultures that prioritize productivity over safety. What makes these incidents particularly tragic is that they are almost entirely preventable. The solutions are well known and straightforward. Equipment should be properly maintained and any defects addressed immediately. Workers should feel empowered to stop production if they identify safety concerns. Experience should lead to greater caution, not less. And companies must create cultures where safety is genuinely valued, not just discussed in morning briefings, and then forgotten when deadlines loom. Prevention. And moving forward, the most important lesson from stories like Michael's is that workplace safety is everyone's responsibility. Employers must invest in proper equipment, adequate maintenance, thorough training, and a culture that genuinely prioritizes worker well-being. They must ensure that production pressures never compromise safety standards. Workers, regardless of their experience level, must remain vigilant. Familiarity can breed complacency, and complacency can be dangerous. Speaking up about safety concerns, even when it might delay production, is not just a right, but an obligation. No deadline is worth risking permanent injury or worse. Supervisors and managers play a critical role in setting the tone when they demonstrate through their actions, not just their words, that safety comes first. Workers feel empowered to prioritize it as well when they respond promptly to maintenance requests and never pressure workers to bypass safety protocols. They create an environment where incidents like Michael's become far less likely. Conclusion: Michael eventually returned to the facility, but not to his old position. He now works in the safety department, using his experience to prevent others from making the same choices he made. He tells his story to new employees not to frighten them, but to help them understand that workplace safety is not abstract or theoretical. It's real, it's personal, and it matters every single day. The shift that ended in silence for Michael's facility became a turning point.